be under the bright lights. I want to be on the Broadway stage.
Tiger Rag Radio is on now.
Welcome back to Tiger Rag Radio. This is Glenn Gilbo, editor of Tiger Rag Magazine, with executive editor of Tiger Rag Magazine, Todd Horn. Right now, we're going to deep dive into women's basketball. We have Reed Darcey from the Baton Rouge Advocate joining us. Reed, how are you?
Hey, guys. Thank y'all for having me.
Hey, Reed. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. I'm just hanging around, trying to eat up some leftovers from Thanksgiving, trying to knock those out. But otherwise, hope y'all are doing well.
Well, we're doing great. But how's Kim Mulkey doing, man? They're undefeated, and it's a totally different type of team than we're used to seeing. And at least that's my take. What's yours?
Yeah, I think Kim Mulkey really likes this team. I think it's early. It's only 9 games into the season, but I think she likes a lot of the balance it has. She likes how it can play in transition. I think she likes how it defends. I think she likes the size they have, and I think she likes the way they're rebounding the ball, because you lose Angel Reese, who's one of the top rebounders in program history, and one of the top rebounders, I guess, arguably you could say, in NCAA history. You lose her, but the rebounding hasn't really been an issue at all. They're still rebounding at a super high level. And that's what Kim Mulkey really wants. That's one of her top priorities in a team. So I'd imagine through the first 9 or so games of the season, she's pretty pleased with how they're playing so far. I think they've gotten off to a really strong start, hitting the ground running, as opposed to last year when they sort of stumbled a little bit and had to deal with some off the court stuff last year. I think this year the start to the season has been a lot smoother, and they're playing well, and it really feels like they're positioning themselves for maybe an undefeated non-conference slate or close to it, and I think that's what Kim Mulkey is pretty pleased about.
So they open, they don't open, but they participate in the ACC SCC Challenge on Thursday night against Stanford. Isn't this the first time Stanford's ever been to the Assembly Center, Pete Maravich Assembly Center, or do we know?
I believe, I have to double check, but I believe it is. I know the last time they played was 2006, and that was in the NCAA tournament. LSU won that game. But yeah, like you said, Todd, it's been a while since they've played, and I don't think Stanford's been in the PMAC.
Are they a strong team this year? Is that supposed to be a somewhat of a challenge for LSU, or is it just another feather in their cap, so to speak?
I think it'll still be a challenge. Stanford is not what it has been in recent past. I think it's a little less of a matchup than it would have been had it happened last year or even the year before. Stanford lost a lot of talent. Cameron Brink is off to the WNBA, and Kiki Uriafen, she transferred to USC. And then also Tara Vander, their longtime head coach, legendary head coach, she retired in the offseason, right? And now they're in the ACC. They're sort of in a transition year. So this isn't the Stanford team that's, going to be one of the top programs in the country year in and year out. I think they're rebuilding a little bit. That doesn't mean they can't beat LSU. They're just probably not as strong of a non-conference team as they would have been in recent years. So I think LSU is probably going to be a slight favorite in this game, but that doesn't mean that Stanford can't give them kind of a challenge.
Hi, I'm Mike Munderland, and we're here to smash the capital city's trash.
Smash My Trash is a revolutionary compactor for large dumpsters, sometimes reducing the volume of waste by up to 70%. This means fewer hauls per month and big savings for your business. Fewer hauls and compacted waste will also result in a positive impact on our community and our environment by taking up less space in our local landfill sites. Schedule your company's free demo today. Call 225-497-0101.
Trains are everywhere. You should always expect one, even on private property. Only cross tracks at designated crossings that fit your equipment. If you don't fit, don't commit. Look, listen, live.
Talking to Reed Darcey from the Baton Rouge Advocate here on Tiger Rag Radio. Reed, you think, so there seems to be less drama with the women's basketball team this year. There was some locker room issues last year. There was stuff off the court. I think Kim brought some of it on herself, but maybe not that much. Do you think she's enjoying the fact that there isn't all this drama like there was last year?
Yeah, I think so. I think last year, after they won the national championship, the off season was just so busy for her and for everyone else. Like after they won, that was April, and then it was basically nonstop for them all the way till the start of next season. Angel Reese, she always had an obligation to do. Kim Mulkey always had some kind of obligation to do. That's just comes with winning a national championship, celebrating it. And I remember last year before the season started, Kim Mulkey had her annual press conference before they officially started practice, and she sort of challenged her players. Are you bought in? Are you focused? Are you ready to leave all of the celebratory stuff in the off season and really focus and get back to work? And the motto for her last season, the motto that she chose for the team, she chooses a new motto for her team to follow every year, was to dig deep roots. That's what it was last year. And so I think she had tried to, preach that message early on last year of staying grounded, and focusing on the present task at hand. Now, I guess that kind of got a little challenging to start the season, and they end up riding the ship and reaching the Elite Eight. But I think the off season this year was a lot quieter, a lot calmer than it was the year before, and I think that allowed them to kind of focus and really get off to a strong start in the start of the season. Just focus on basketball, And I think Kim Mulkey, I think she's enjoyed that, and I think she's ready to keep that momentum rolling through the rest of December and then into January.
What's the credo this season?
I don't know. I believe it's ring the bell or something like that. They've got this bell. They got this alarm or something that they like to ring. I haven't really seen it out on the court yet, but I think it's like sound the alarm, ring the alarm, something like that. I'm not quite sure what the meaning is. I'll have to ask him.
All right, before we have you on the show next time, we need you to find that out.
Come on,
I'll get on that. Get on that.
But no, let's get back to this team, because this team is really interesting in the sense.
Well, that was a question about.
Well, no,
this
but
team.
I mean the personnel on this team.
All right, pal.
So obviously, Flau'jae Johnson is the offensive leader, along with Anissa Morrow. Michaela's been having a little bit of up and down. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, in the Bahamas, she had for the first scoreless game of her career. She went 0 for 9, scored 0 points. That was really the first time we'd seen her struggle offensively. Hit a rough patch like that. Otherwise, I think she's been good. She's been kind of overshadowed by how good Flau'jae's been and how good Anissa Morrow's been. And I think that that's to be expected. But if you look at her numbers, I mean, her numbers are still pretty good. She's averaging around 14 points a game, shooting around 44, 45% from the field, and she's up there from beyond 3-point range too. She's hovering around 37, 38%. So I think her numbers, they haven't taken a jump in terms of what she did from her freshman year to her sophomore year, but they look pretty similar to what she was doing last year. I think you can expect them to maybe either continue on that trajectory or maybe improve a little bit. She's still got some room for improvement, obviously. But, she has been a little overshadowed by, Flau'jae Johnson, just because she's been so good. She's really carried that, her performances from the NCAA tournament, she's carried those over into this season, and she's playing like one of the best players in the country. She's shooting over 54% from the field, over 42% from three, north of 20 points a game. She looks really comfortable. She looks really confident. And she looks ready to, put up these performances consistently, right? Consistently score north of 15, north of 20 points a game, and really be the scoring leader that LSU needs. So I think, tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Thursday is going to be a big test for her. Maybe a big test for her against Stanford, the home game against a power conference opponent, to see how she does. I think she's ready for the moment, and you'll only see her get better as the year goes on.
So a couple of things that Kim has talked about in her post-game press conferences. She's talked about the fact that she doesn't have a real leader. You would think Flau'jae would be that, Anissa would be that, but she says there's not really a leader that's stepped forward yet. And she's also talked about how she's challenged picking her 8 or 9 person rotation because there's so much competition in the practice right now that she can't do that. Is that a little surprising for you?
That's a good problem.
Yeah, it is a good problem to have, Glenn. I don't think it's particularly surprising to me, because last year her 8 or 9 player rotation sort of sorted itself out for her, right? You had Samaya Smith go down with a knee injury really early in the season, and then you had Kateri Poole leave the team right at the start of the season too. So those were two expected contributors who LSU lost pretty quickly, and then Kim Mulkey was sort of left with only 7 or 8 players that she could have played anyway. This team is deeper. It has more numbers. It has more people she can trust and rely on, and so that's going to force her to make some difficult decisions. Like, as we know, she likes to keep a rotation down to 8, maybe 9 players. And right now, particularly if you look in the backcourt, she's got about 4 or 5 of them who can really contribute. And she said after they got done in the Bahamas, she said that she's still not set on a lead point guard, that it could be 4 or 5 different players vying for that spot over the next month of the season. We've seen Cheyenne Day-Wilson get most of those reps early on, get most of those minutes early on, but she's had a relatively uneven start to the season, I think. And I think Kim Mulkey and her staff really like Miracle Shepherd. Obviously, they really like Poa back for a 3rd season with the program. So I think that's going to sort itself out over the next month or so of the season. But I do think Kim Mulkey has more options in terms of creating that rotation than she did a year ago, and I think that's ultimately a good problem to have.
All right, number 5 LSU versus Stanford Thursday night, 8 p.m. at the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. That's going to be on ESPN2. Reed Darcey, thanks a lot for joining us. Enjoy the Thanksgiving leftovers, but it's getting kind of late, man. That you better make sure that food's still good.
I know. I was rushing against time to get them out, so I appreciate that, guys. Y'all have a good one.
It's time to start betting on yourself. Louisiana 988 can help if you're dealing with tough emotions caused by gambling habits. You can share as much or as little as you want, and it's completely confidential. It's free, available 24/7, and most people who reach out report feeling better right in the moment. Call or text 988 anytime.